Yes, we all know Cyberpunk 2077 released on shaky ground, but in successive years, CD Projekt Red have worked tirelessly to provide updates, which, looking back almost 3 years later, represent a drastic improvement to the base game as released. Cyberpunk 2077's upcoming DLC Phantom Liberty looks like it'll complete CD Projekt Red's redemption, with brand new settings, fresh spy-based gameplay, plus new weapons, skills and characters, the main features of an expansion which is also fine-tuning and overhauling pretty much all of its gameplay mechanics. The expansion is launching September the 26th to current-gen hardware only. Espionage-based narrative and gameplay. Shaking up the narrative somewhat is Phantom Liberty, with cyber-enhanced mercenary V returning for a high-stakes spy thriller adventure. The mission, as announced by CD Projekt Red, involves V dabbling in spycraft, infiltrating high-security buildings, stealthily taking out enemies, and butting heads with some of the craftiest NPCs in the game under their new guise of government secret agent on an intriguing crusade to save the NUC president. New city district to explore. Night City's one and only expansion will feature a new hood to explore, Dogtown. This all-new district in the city's southwestern block is supremely dangerous, having been walled off from the Pacifica conflict zone for presumably being too dicey for the ordinary citizen to waltz through. With crime rife behind Dogtown's combat zone walls, we're expecting V must tread carefully, what with alleged trouble on the streets, rampant militias, and a colonel who's utterly hostile to outsiders. New characters. We all know Keanu Reeves is set to reprise his role as popular NPC Johnny Silverhand in Phantom Liberty, but most headline-grabbing of this expansion's newcomers is The Wire and Luther actor Idris Elba, who will provide his likeness and line delivery to a new character, Solomon Reed, an experienced FIA agent working for the NUSA. A loyal, dutiful agent is Reed. His allyship will no doubt prove crucial to completing Phantom Liberty's spy-based missions, as his lengthy spell in covert intelligence means he's an expert in spycraft, netrunners, and extracting information. Other fresh faces include ruler of Dogtown Colonel Hansen, shape-shifting NUSA agent Alex, and President Meyer's right-hand songbird. Overhauled cybernetics. CD Projekt Red have never shied away from overhauling major gameplay mechanics, and it doesn't seem as though they're stopping with Phantom Liberty either, as Cyberpunk 2077's cybernetics are receiving a revamp. Previously, character armor was tied to clothing, meaning players often had to choose between fashion or function, sacrificing defensive stats for the coolest threads. Now, in Phantom Liberty, defense is tied to cyberware, meaning players can dress V in whatever they want without fear of defensive penalty. The flip side to this is V will be limited to how much cyberware can be added before health is debuffed. New weapons and cyberware. Of course, what is DLC without a new weapon or two to wield in unexplored territory? Along for the ride in Phantom Liberty, that we know of, is the Errata, a Tier 3 katana, and the Order, which is a DB2 Satara double-barreled shotgun. There's also the smart submachine gun dubbed the Warden, plus a couple of unidentified handguns which will have to wait until we play Phantom Liberty before we learn how they function. Cyberware, ostensibly Cyberpunk 2077's perk system, is set to receive new items, plus an overhaul of existing items and upgrades. Info is scant at the minute on exactly how or what shape this revamped cyberware will take, so again, we'll have to wait until we dive into Dogtown before we find out. New and overhauled skills. It's no secret the bulk of Cyberpunk 2077's core systems are receiving upgrades and overhauls in its first and only DLC. But according to CD Projekt Red creative director Pavel Sasko and Phantom Liberty quest designer Despoina Anataki, skills and perks are amongst the biggest revamps. Sadly though, these new skills have not been shared just yet, but with a reported overhaul to Cyberpunk 2077's difficulty curve, enemy archetypes, and loot drop content, as well as its novel stealth-based gameplay, it's likely these new skills will complement these other changes nicely. Redesigned skill tree. Early playtester of Phantom Liberty and New Blood Interactive CEO Dave Oshry has done us the commendable service of sharing a screen grab of Phantom Liberty's redesigned skill tree, and immediately it looks to be a refresh for the better. The new talent system actually resembles something of a tree for starters, but taking a look at Oshry's screenshot, we can see primary nodes with secondary offshoots. Perhaps these main nodes are core skills, with secondary offshoots being something more akin to perks or buffs. The skill tree tops out with an ultimate final skill too. Not exactly a revolutionary design, sure, but Phantom Liberty's skills are at least now organised in a much more readable format. Refreshed combat mechanics. CD Projekt Red have been sure to fine-tune combat too, with a mode focusing on new combat finishing moves, the most headline-grabbing. Overall, playtesters are reporting tighter fighting, which is just as well, as it appears V will be getting their fists out plenty of times when face-to-face with new faction soldiers the Barghest on the steely streets of Dogtown. Expanded NPC behaviour. The AI of Night City's non-player population is said to be receiving a drastic overhaul too. You may remember on launch, NC citizens reacting bizarrely to danger, all cowering in synchronicity, for instance. Subsequent updates have seen the population move more towards a natural reaction to aggression, with some NPCs even fighting back if they don't run away, something which CD Projekt Red surely wished they'd implemented from the start. Phantom Liberty is set to continue down this path, no doubt adding yet more immersiveness to an already well-designed city. Improved police system. Actually, improved probably isn't the word to describe Phantom Liberty's police system. No, its alleged police behaviour in this upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 expansion has been completely redone, built again from the ground up. This time, there'll be multiple levels of law enforcement who'll chase V in differing ways. Police are said to be more aggressive in their approach to apprehending criminals, with the city's most wanted being hunted down by NCPD's elite task force, known as MaxTech. Vehicle combat. And how better to enjoy evading the more rampant NC police force than with vehicle combat? Yes, finally, CD Projekt Red are implementing vehicular combat into Cyberpunk 2077, with Phantom Liberty's players now able to drive and shoot for the first time. It'll certainly give new meaning to the phrase gunning for freedom, but in actual fact, vehicular combat has been one of the most sought-after additions to the Cyberpunk universe, not least in part to a wildly successful mod which enabled players to drive by their opponents. As a bonus, Phantom Liberty will reportedly feature cars with mounts for external weapons too. Rebalanced hacking system. Of course, with an expansion so focused on spying, it makes sense that CD Projekt Red would opt to deliver some finesse to Cyberpunk 2077's hacking systems. Playtesters report a far more balanced set of hacking powers, with shorter cooldowns providing a tighter experience. There's even a stealthy hacker archetype to select for those wanting their runner to be the strong, silent type. Loot progression changes. Alluded to already in this feature, but Phantom Liberty's loot progression hasn't skipped CD Projekt Red's wholesale changes for this expansion either. Again, as reported by the quest designer Despoiler and Attaki, the tiers and drops of loot will be different for this DLC. Exactly what these changes are remains to be seen, but it's exciting nonetheless. A new ending to the base game. Much of Phantom Liberty's updates CD Projekt Red are hoping to implement in the base game too, meaning original purchasers can benefit from some of the expansion's overhauls. For those original players, purchasing and playing through Phantom Liberty's story will unlock a new ending in the base game too. Game director Gabe Amatangelo announced these changes in a recent interview, but remained tight-lipped on this new ending. The only other thing of note on this subject is Phantom Liberty will receive multiple possible endings too. New radio station. Okay, so not mixing up the gameplay in any drastic way is Phantom Liberty's reported new radio station, 89.7 Growl FM, featuring 14 new tracks for players to wrap their ears around. What's cool about Growl FM though, if you haven't heard, is these 14 tracks have been cherry-picked from approximately 7,800 community-created pieces of music to feature in the game. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. Have anything to say? Let us know in the comments below. Also, we upload new videos every single day on GamingBolt, so please consider subscribing as it really helps us out. Thanks for watching.